Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience. And, besides that, he's really weird. Welcome to the Mark Gungor Show with international marriage speaker and author of Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, Mark Gungor. This is your source for practical, down-to-earth marriage advice without all the over-spiritualization or romantic nonsense. And now the host of the Mark Gungor Show, Mark Gungor.
The crowd goes wild with delirious joy. They've joined the Mark Gungor Show, the show that deals with all things concerning marriage. Marriage, indeed. I'm your host, the one, the only Mark Gungor. Joining me, as always, the ever lovely and charming Lady D, Lady Diane, and of course the amazing Philip James Gungor, engineering the show, as always. The very talented but eerily creepy Timothy Robert Ray, pushing buttons, twisting knobs, and trying to stay awake during this incomprehensibly, immeasurably boring show. This is the show that handles your marital challenges, relational conundrums, and dating dilemmas that you can email to us at ask@markgungor.com. Here's how the show works. You can send us an email about anything and remain totally anonymous, and we are just very brutally honest.
You okay?
Hairball.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool shirt.
You like that shirt?
Yes.
Really?
I do, very much.
Well,
I don't think I've ever seen that one before.
I'll never take it off again.
Oh, great.
All right, what do you got?
Okay, 4 fatal relationship mistakes.
You notice she didn't say anything about Phil's shirt.
I like
it's
Phil's
implied.
Shirt too. Yeah.
I like the tie, actually.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right.
4 fatal relationship mistakes. Number 1, start a relationship because of physical attraction. Not that physical attraction shouldn't be a reason we date someone. It just shouldn't be the reason. Often we begin a relationship assuming that if we are madly attracted to someone, then it's worth the gamble for the chance to be with them. Larger issues of compatibility are set aside for later examination because we are often too consumed with sexual fervor to consider the weightier issues. This is not to say this attraction always leads straight to sex, but we tend to think the first kiss has told us all that we need to know about whether or not this is worth pursuing.
Okay.
Commentary?
None really, I don't think. I guess that's fair.
Okay. Number 2, read into everything. Ignorance is bliss was probably a phrase coined to describe a new relationship floating on the clouds of physical chemistry. Everything seems amazing. In such an ecstatic haze, every commonality we share seems divine. You like coffee too? With
You
milk?
like coffee?
Unbelievable.
That's amazing. It's the will of God.
You watch The Walking Dead? Oh my gosh, we're the same person.
Phil watches The Walking Dead.
That's fair, yeah, that one.
He's a pervert.
Yes. Anybody who watches The Walking Dead must be your soulmate, right? Mm-hmm. Issues fundamental to lasting relationships may not even have been discussed at this point. Faith, worldview, beliefs about family, etc. This can cause huge problems later on.
People are really this ditzy.
Oh, they are.
They really are.
They are. That's my favorite song. That's my favorite
Oh my
movie,
goodness, that's you're the one I've always been hoping for.
I know.
You're the one I want. What do I want?
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Number 3, this one you're going to dig. Ignore the advice of loved ones.
That's a mistake.
Yes, this is a mistake, a fatal mistake. The stage is about introducing your significant newbie to the people that matter most to you, your close family and friends. Unfortunately, at this stage of the game, we often could care less about what they think because, in our opinion, anyone who loves us should also love this person as much as we do. Lord forbid a parent or a well-meaning friend try to point out something for our consideration. If they do, we turn on them like a tiger grabbed by the proverbial tail. You don't know him like I do, we say. But that's not what this is about at all. This is about allowing the same people who have always been there for you in the past to be there for you now, even if their input isn't what you want to hear.
That is so dead on. Mm-hmm. Listen to your friends and family. Mm-hmm. If all of them are telling you this is a bad idea, it's a bad idea. Why people ignore everybody? And they're just because they bought into, well, we like the same shirt.
Mm-hmm. Blue is my favorite color.
Oh, really? Blue? That's so unusual. Good grief. All right.
And the last one, ignoring the warning signs.
It's a warning. It's a warning. A mistake that they make.
Yes.
Of ignoring the warning signs.
We begin asking each other and ourselves some tough questions. What do you mean you don't want kids? Jesus isn't a big deal to you? When were you going to tell me? Why does she have such a temper? Since when does she yell at me? At this point, crazy as it might sound, getting married can sound easier than breaking up. But some people plunge headlong into marriage thinking a wedding will somehow validate and heal a relationship on the rocks. In reality, marriage only makes this broken relationship permanent, or worse, it assures a short-lived marriage.
This is a big one. It's stunning how many people come for relational counseling or ask me for relationship counseling when they're dating. And I won't meet with them. I won't do it. If you need, and they write us.
Oh, yeah, we frequently.
Listen to me. All you single people, put down the drugs. Listen, whatever delusional state you're in, listen for just a few seconds. Listen to me. If you need counseling before you get married, you are out of your ever-loving mind. That's when you dump the person and move on. Good. You talk about ignoring the sign.
Oh,
they
like the
literally
email?
want to counseling. They want to pay money to sit with a counselor. Can you help us in our relationship? You're dating and you can't stand each other already.
And we have problems.
Grief. And you're right. This person is right. At that point, these people actually think it's easier to go ahead and get married than to break it up.
Yeah, because they've invested so much emotionally and sometimes sexually and everything else.
I know, but they are headed for a trip to hell. Hail! Hail! Stay away from it. It ain't worth it. All right, we'll be back with your emails right after this.
Have a marriage dilemma? Email your questions to ask@markgungor.com, and Mark can answer them during one of our shows.
Hi, Mark Gungor here talking to you about Transition One, our one-year transition program here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that is designed to help young people, young Christian people. And I want to stress that this isn't a program for juvenile delinquents. You got a kid who's a mess, man, don't send them to us. I'm talking about devout Christian kids. They finish high school, and before they go into college, they take a one-year program. There's several of these around the country. We have one here in the Mark Gungor world called Transition One. We launched this last year, and it's been fabulous. I mean, it's really wonderful, and these kids have been dramatically affected by this in a wonderful way. We teach them about life. We focus on how to live, how to make decisions, how to plan, how to date, how to make choices for spouses, how to do all these things. And we show them how to serve, and we give them service opportunities and teach them to put God first in their lives. The last 3 months of the program, they go on a missions trip, not one of these, 7-day. And God bless those who do that. I mean, I still think they're great, but those are more of a vacation. When you go on a real missions trip and you're there for months, you really learn stuff, and it really changes you, and you really get to understand, and really, if nothing else, to appreciate what you have here. Believe it or not, there's places in the world that they don't have Wi-Fi in every corner of your world. Life is different. There's not a McDonald's on every corner. There's not, 3,000 television channels. There's places where, quite frankly, none of that stuff exists, and you haven't a chance to really see these kids grow and mature. When they come back, I'm telling them their lives will be changed forever. And then let them go on and pursue their lives. Jesus taught us, if you will seek first my kingdom, I'll add all these things to you. You parents who just try to get your kids to go get these things right away, as that's the top priority, you're making in my opinion, a terrible mistake. Slow down. Take a year. Put God first in the lives of your children. Encourage them to do so. Go check out our website. We'll tell you all about our program, transition1.org. That's transition1.org.
Take this opportunity to invite you. We're gonna party you.
Psycho.
Your body don't hesitate. It's on Main Street by the pearly gate. There's a party going on. There's a party going on. There's a party going on. You ought to come along. It's up round the throne of God.
The music. I can't talk. The music of Jimmy Bratcher. Check out his music at jimmybratcher.com.
He can't talk because he can't breathe. I wish we were periscoping so we could do a live poll. I could say, when someone says to you, you put too much perfume on today, is that a neutral statement, a positive statement, or a negative statement?
I just said you put a bit much. I can't remember what I said. This is why men learn. Never say anything. My husband never talks. Why is that? We learn. Never say anything.
Shut up. Okay, the first email today says, have you collected yourself? I'm going to put a fan here and I'm going to blow it all right at you so you're stuck
all
to
right.
I was thinking about this very
It's not cold in here anymore.
this topic this morning.
You were?
Yeah.
Too much perfume?
Not specifically with the perfume, but with how, it's, I guess, like a lot of the things we talk about, the differences between men and women. I thought, sometimes women, when they explain things, it's like they've got a big box of Crayola. Right?
Yeah, with all those
of the colors.
I love the big box.
Oh, yeah,
Like the great big long
And
one with
women
all of the
think that
colors.
at least
124 colors.
Oh, I love it.
But at least they think men at least have all the prime colors.
Yeah.
The problem is what they don't understand is a lot of men have a black and a white.
Right.
And so then they ask them.
It's like going to Applebee's. They give you two crayons.
Yeah,
They
that's
give you
right.
the kids a crate. How do you colors them? It's all just two colors.
Right.
But that's,
And so when the man just says, "Well, it's white," well, sure, but what shade of white? And that's when they learn to just stop talking. And then they get beat up.
I'm sorry,
more-
we're
there's
such
more than
a
one shade of white.
conundrum.
It's like the dressing rules. It's hard for me to figure them out. Like green. I said you can't wear that with that other thing, that jacket with that shirt. Why? They're both green. We can't wear those two greens together. Who says it's green? There's rules apparently.
Seriously, you can wear whatever you want, except you just might look silly. That's all.
Oh, these are both green.
Yeah.
Does one not go with the other?
You could probably wear those two shades of green together.
I don't know who makes up these rules.
It's just what's aesthetically pleasing to people.
You notice a lot of our books are green.
Yeah, I see that.
Why?
I don't know. There's a theme.
Is there?
Green or blue, there's a theme.
You are the one that picks those designs, if you remember.
Because I have no taste.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because
Our new books are new books green?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
No. But you should have
We have new
seen the
books coming
dilemma
out.
we had about the design and the colors and the this and the that and the battle between your father and me.
What?
Over
I don't
My
even
comment with
remember.
that one
That's
was,
the other
they
thing.
shouldn't
The
do
one
the
book
green.
in particular.
Oh, but I like the green.
No,
The
but
green
here-
really pops.
Here's the other
this
thing.
one.
It doesn't pop when everything else we have is green.
Yeah.
She really remembers this. And I don't even remember it ever happening.
Well, geez, then I should have just went ahead and told her to make it the way I wanted to make it if you don't even
I
remember.
guess. I don't know. Was it brown?
No, it wasn't brown. It was all of the
The only thing I remember is we had a DVD cover.
Yeah, they look like baby
And
poop.
it looked like baby poop.
Yeah.
Baby poop
Yeah.
brown.
No,
There's
it's
a
not that.
seller. Who came up with baby poop?
He just
Anyway.
likes lots of colors and shapes and like the garish, and I was trying to tone it down.
Really? I don't see how you can say that about me.
Can't imagine.
You should see my new jackets.
Phil, did you see him? Did you see his two new jackets?
Nope.
Oh
Phil,
my
I'm
word!
sure I couldn't miss them, though.
No, you go stand out in De Pere and you'll see him.
in a sandstorm in the middle of
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, you'll see him.
You'd see them.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's get
I'm
on
sure
with it.
people paid big money for that. People are thinking right now, boy, am I glad I tuned into this show.
The
All right.
business of the day.
What do you
She
got?
says, my long-term committed partner and I have been together for 7 years. He is an entertainer and often has other women trying to get his attention. I trust him and there has never been an issue with infidelity, but it often makes me feel insecure and jealous. How do I control these feelings?
Well, it might help if you had a guy who actually committed to marrying you. What did she call it? A
Long-term committed partner for 7 years.
heck is that? That's a thing. You know, maybe you'd be a little bit more secure if the boy actually put a ring on your finger. Aside from that, I mean, it is what it is. He's an entertainer. It's one of these things. And there's no question about public figures, Gav, get the attention of lots of people. Mm-hmm. Male public people get attention of female. I get it. Mm-hmm. It's nothing. I think it's just because I'm so incredibly good looking, probably. It has nothing to do with that. It's just you're the guy there, and everybody's fascinated about you. They're coming there talking to you. If you're an insecure person that, you're uncomfortable because, women are talking to your husband and stuff, and they just think, he's the great, people come to my wife, oh, it must be so amazing to be married to him. And she's thinking, she's thinking, it's a thrill a minute. I mean, she's very polite. She smiles.
Yeah.
And goes, oh, yeah. She agrees.
Yeah. She's got her fingers crossed behind her back.
Behind her back. Saying, Lord, don't forgive me for lying. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's like, any kind
professional athletes,
a doctor. I mean, it is what it is. If it makes you uncomfortable, what you need to stay concerned about is what he does, not what other people do, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. If you're uncomfortable being around a man who gets the attention of others, you probably shouldn't be with an entertainer. Mm-hmm. Whatever a long-term committed 7-year thing is. I don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. I would suggest you not do that and get a boy to actually marry you and not play this game. By the way, you can do what you want. It's a free country. Assuming I don't know what country she's in. I presume it's a free country, or she would be able to email me. You girls understand. You can do this if you want. You can just live with these guys what you want. It's always a win for the guy. Mm-hmm. He gives up nothing to be with you. But just remember, if something happens to them, you get nothing. These women do not get it. And I've seen it, man. I've a couple of situations recently. One, living with a guy for almost 40 years. On his death, she got nothing. There was another guy. They must have been 30, 40 years together. I mean, again, same kind of deal, because I'm doing the funeral, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Well, it turns out that the first guy, his original wife, he'd never even divorced her. Mm-mm. I mean, they just forget. So he just never got around to it for whatever reason. All right. On the day of the funeral, guess who shows up?
The legal wife.
The legal wife. Guess who got this position of honor? The legal wife. Guess who sat on the front row? The legal wife. Oh. Guess what happened to the chick who'd been with him for 40 years, 30 years, whatever it was, and had 4 or 5 children with him? She's in the back row. She has no standing. You girls have no standing. Legally, you get jack. You go to the court and say, well, but it's our house, and is it both our names? And it doesn't mean jack. That's why marriage is a legal commitment. You're entering into some kind of a bargain. You say, well, we love each other, doesn't matter. Okay, just don't whine. When he drops dead unexpectedly and you find out, you get nothing, and then his relatives swoop in, and they take it all. Mm-hmm. It is what it is. All right.
Okay, she wants to know, I think it's a she, yes. My husband's parents have recently separated, and all signs are pointing to divorce. A couple of years ago, they separated to work on their problems before reconciling for about 6 months later. But apparently, that did not resolve the issues, okay? There has been no infidelity or abuse. It's basically a case of both of them moving into different stages of their lives and being too stubborn to make it work together. Mm-hmm. Over the last year or so, my father-in-law has withdrawn from the family and stopped attending church. Numerous Christian family and friends have tried to talk to both of them, but this has seemingly not helped. Some of my husband's siblings still live at home, ranging from elementary school to high school. My husband and I are in our mid-20s with children of our own. What is our role in this separation? Is it just to be there for the kids, or is there more that we should be doing?
I don't know. You just be a sibling. What are you going to do? You're the kids. What your parents do, you can only control so much. Mm-hmm. Ask my son.
Right, Phil?
Sometimes he just does what he does.
And you just roll your eyes.
They have limited influence. It's not your father is being a selfish pig. Your mother and father probably both being selfish. There's no reason for divorce. We're just different stages. Really, there's all kinds of stages. Mm-hmm. There's the honeymoon, and then not long after, there's a different stage. Mm-hmm. Then there's the kid stage, and then there's a sick kid stage, and it's the kids going through, potty training stage, and there's the kids got zits stage, and then the kids going through puberty stage, and then there's the kids out of the house stage, and there's, the stage my husband's sick and can't get a job, and there's a stage where my wife's got cancer and she's taking whatever drugs and puking her guts out and balls of cucumber. There's all kinds of stages. They talk about, well, it's just a different stage.
Yeah.
Really, everything's a different stage. I promise you, tomorrow morning will be a different stage than today. How about you honor your commitments to each other? But you cannot control what other people do. Trust me, if I could, the world would be a better place. We'll take a break and be back with more emails right after this.
Mark Gungor. Yeah, we've got an app for that. Download your free Mark Gungor app today.
Sounds so simple, and it's just a game. All the pretty players are wanting just the same.
back on the Mark Gungor Show, talking about love, marriage, and relationship, answering your emails. What you got?
It's a guy writing. I knew that was going to happen. I just felt it coming.
Hairball.
I'm so sorry.
Hairball.
It's a guy writing.
You should probably have a cough button, huh?
Should. Frog button.
Most radio shows have a cough button.
A frog button, yeah. Okay, anyway, he says, I know this may sound weird, but how do I learn to laugh more? My wife and I don't laugh enough, and I honestly believe it's because I am too serious and intense. What do I do? What can I do to laugh more? It's not that I don't like to laugh. I love to laugh. It's just that I don't and won't laugh at coarse joking and don't find everything under the sun funny. Mm-hmm. I find myself laughing more with my brothers in Christ. They don't judge me, and it's easy to let it out because the humor is clean and I don't feel the presence of the darkness, he says. I am very sensitive to spiritual things, and my one gift that has served me the most is the gift of discernment, but that gift in many instances puts me in a place of feeling the presence of darkness around me. I can't let it go usually unless I know I'm safe and with the Holy Spirit, and I feel a sense of ease in His presence. Part of that is my intense nature, and part of that is I don't want to joke or make light of the things that God is against. My marriage is suffering, and my wife is going through depression. Just wait, and my lack of laughter with her is only hurting our marriage more. Please give me some suggestions.
Lighten up. What?
That's what he's saying. His problem is
No, he's saying I have a hard time laughing, but I don't like laughing at crude, gross, disgusting, offensive things. What do you expect me to say? Here's how you can start laughing at crude, gross, disgusting things. What kind of question is that? Well, they're terrible and they're horrible and they're offensive and they're terrible to the Holy Spirit. Tell me how I can improve. Are you crazy? Now, if you're not very fun, laugh much. Who cares? Just relax. He says he laughs when he thinks it's funny. Then laugh when you think it's funny. Some people don't laugh. So what? Lighten up. You're too intense about your own self.
He may not be from fun country.
No.
Clearly not.
But his marriage is suffering, and his wife is going through depression and the lack of probably from the...
Well, if that's the case, you're an intelligent man, sensitive to the spirit of discernment and stuff, when you can feel you're being a jerk. How about you not be a jerk so your wife doesn't feel so bad? So spiritual. I'm so spiritual. I have the spirit. I can sense everything in the room, and I can tell when the Holy Spirit walks in. I can see it. But when I'm home, I'm a jackass. And my wife can't stand me, and you don't teach me how to laugh. What is this? He's an angry elf.
Again.
I don't understand.
Again, Bill.
I just don't understand people. What are they thinking?
I would guess to say he's not laughing right now.
I'm sure he's not laughing right now.
Not funny either.
How about you be a little more humble? Instead of give me 4 paragraphs of how spiritual you are and how you're in tune with the spirit of the living God in your soul. And you don't like coarse joking? What do you expect me to say? Laugh at coarse jokes? What is this, a trap? I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know.
If it's coarse, disgusting, you shouldn't be laughing. What kind of question is this?
I only read, though.
He's giving a good reason why not to laugh at things.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, yes. Someone comes up and says, obscene, terrible, horribly disgusting, sexually gross and inappropriate. Yeah, you should not be laughing. Why are you asking me how to laugh at what is not appropriate? Now, then he comes around the mountain. Mm-hmm. He'll be coming around the mountain when he goes. So he comes around. And by the way, my wife can't stand me because I'm a jerk. Well, if you're so spiritual, how about you not be a jerk at home? Here's a concept. Maybe you're not nearly as spiritual as you think you are. How about a little bit more humility? How about not being such a jerk? Here's what people like this that are so intense, they're always intense about everything. And at home, he's probably always right about this and that about that, and I feel this and blah, blah, blah. I wonder why my wife's depressed. Oh, I can't imagine. www.focusonthefamily.com. That's probably who you should be listening to. www. I'll tell you what, we're so advanced today, you don't have to type the www. Why does everybody even say that anymore?
I know, it's just...
www, really? Because then we lose that like 10 years
A lot of times
ago.
they don't say that now, if you think of it.
Just focusonthefamily.com.
No, it's not. It's actually family.org.
Actually, you can do both.
Family.org
And they
is
send to
easy.
each other.
And now, yeah, that's easy.
Forgive me.
Sorry, that's easier to remember. Sorry, I wasn't.
I'm an angry elf.
Didn't mean to correct you.
They're a lot nicer and they'll be much calmer, and they will probably have a very spiritual revelation for you. Although my guess is they probably won't be telling you how to laugh at inappropriate, disgusting, Holy Spirit offending jokes. As for the rest of you, we'll be back right after this.
Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience.
The Son of God came walking one night out on the water. What a frightening sight. Folks in the boat thought he was a ghost when Peter said to Jesus, "Can I
Get out the boat. Get out the boat.
Get out
The music
boat.
Get out and vote.
Get out the boat.
No, he said get out of the boat. Jimmy Bratcher, JimmyBratcher.com. Check out his music. All right.
A flag page question for you.
Flag page, for those of you not familiar, the flag page is an online assessment that you can go take. Go to flagpage.com. It's very fun. It takes just a few minutes to do, really. It's unless you overanalyze everything, which don't do it. It should only take you 5-10 minutes to do this max. It asks you no questions. It's very simple. And you get this printout that helps to really explain who you are and what motivates you. Helps couples to connect. Helps people to understand each other. Not only do we use this, we use it primarily for couples, but people use this in businesses, working with groups. The U.S. military uses this for couples, and Special Forces units today use it not for couples, but just for helping their team members better communicate with each other. Special Forces groups. I like that one guy Phil was talking to. He says, he was a commander or whatever, and he says, we have the best of everything, the best training, the best, because the Special Forces, they get the cream of the crop.
The best of the best.
He says, and we use the flag page. It's great.
It's the best.
Great compliment. So if you haven't done the flag page, shame on you. Shame. Clearly I'm not...
It's the hard sell.
The shame cell.
The shame cell. If nothing else, pummel people with shame and
You hear of all the other kinds of shaming. This is flag shaming.
This is flag shaming.
This is flag shaming.
We're flag shaming you for not doing it. Go to flagpage.com.
Yes.
Anyway, helps people to connect.
This is not a question about husbands and wives flag page. This is I need to understand myself better. It's just an individual, so I hope that you can help her and I don't stump you.
Okay, good.
We'll try it. We've gotten a couple of those, actually, that I'll be bringing to you.
We'll move on to the next subject.
Okay, she said I did the flag page a few years ago, forgot about it, then recently remembered it when you added the different segment to the show. So somebody was listening to our new segment.
We have all of 8 viewers out there and listeners. Okay.
So I went back to read through it and was a little confused by my home country, peace, she says. I scored 96 hard, 45 soft, and chose steady, consistent, deep thinker, idealistic, and strong-willed for the flag pieces. Your spiel about peace country doesn't really seem to fit me, so I'm not sure how I scored so strongly peace rather than perfect or control. Maybe it's because I want people to get along, because I'm always the one person that they come to for advice. I tell them how to fix their problem, and then they ignore me. So frustrating. She says, I know, I'm preaching to the choir. Talking to people to fix their problem, they ignore you. Get it? So I want people to get along so they don't waste my time asking for and then ignoring my advice, she says. That's the nearest I can figure anyway. Can you shine some light on this?
I can. For those of you who are watching the show, look at the screen here. We'll pop up her flag. And those of you listening, I'll try and explain to you. So she's got her strongest motivation is a world of peace. The next category is what we call your hard and soft motivations. People tend to either be very warm and fuzzy, soft, or very direct and to the point, hard. She's overwhelmingly hard-natured, which is very unusual, Ariel, for a peace-natured person. I'm not saying her last name, but anyway. So, but that's the deal. Okay, that's what makes her so different. She's very black and white. Usually peace people are tons of warm and fuzzy and soft, and they don't care about being direct with people. And even in her email, you can say, look, I want people not to be idiots so we can get along, right? Well, that's very unusual.
Yes.
But it makes you the interesting person that you are. Actually, I think you'd be all right.
Well, and then with the idealistic and the strong-willed in there, too, that's really interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting flag.
Oh, yeah. No, I think she'd be highly entertaining to be around personally.
Yeah.
And look at the rest. On her flag, her main motivations. I like things steady, which is a very peaceful trait, Ariel. That's why it's
Yes.
the peace is so high. I like consistent, which is also a strong, peaceful trait. And I think deep thinker also. They're all very strong,
Yes.
peaceful. But for you, your version of peace is, we will have peace if I have to kill you all.
That's her.
We will have peace. All right. And, it reminds me of the joke of the, is this appropriate?
I'm not sure. Phil and I are struggling with you these days.
Popped in mind. It's
Okay.
like the commandant who comes in and he sees all the prisoners. He says, today we have good news and we have bad news. First, the good news. Today everybody gets a change of underwear. Everybody claps, yay. He says, and now the bad news. You change with you change with you.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
And I don't know why that popped into my head. There's something wrong with me. Pray
Has
for me,
nothing
people.
to do with any of this.
Well, no, it was just the strong.
Because you were talking in your German accent.
See, I know. I've been reading the Rise and Fall of the German Reich. Have you seen this book?
No.
This is like it's massively huge.
It's a volume.
And I read it before I go to bed. Nothing like
A little like
thoughts
reading.
of Nazi stormtroopers to help you sleep sleep at night. My wife said, "How do you sleep?" I don't know. I was thinking about Nazis. She said, I wonder why.
Duh.
So anyway, I'll back to the point of most peaceful people. Their main motivation is peace, but they tend to be very gentle as in their quest for peace. What makes this wonderful lady so different is she's much stronger in her approach to peace, which is, quite frankly, very true in how countries deal with each other. The United States of America, one of the reasons that we have strong militaries and everything else is for what?
Peace.
Peace. That's the main reason. It's not so we can just blow people up and kill people. It's not we're a bunch of bloodthirsty psychos and stuff. The reason that Western culture has those strong armies and stuff, you would, she would, if you were to do a flag page of America, it would be more like hers. Mm-hmm. We want peace.
But
we are peace-loving
strong about
people. We
it.
really are. I mean, a lot of the world doesn't get that because they think, why you Americans bomb everybody? We're very peace nature people. We are not, the Third Reich, it's trying to just take over everything. And, we want to get along with people. I mean, everybody wants to take over everything, but nobody's perfect. But I mean, our main thing is peace, but we're very strong to get that peace. We are, anyway, I think everybody gets what I'm trying to say. So Ariel, what you are a very different type of peace person, very strong in your opinions about how for people to get along, and I think it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with you. It's wonderful, and it's just a picture of who you are. If you have questions about what makes you tick, take the test, flagpage.com, and you can email us, and we would be happy to opine upon your results. We'll take a break and be back with more emails right after this.
Want more of Mark? Visit markgungor.com. There you will find everything that Mark has to offer.
Timmy's got all the cool Jimmy cuts today. This is Jimmy Bradford's greatest hit show. We're back on the Mark Gungor Show, talking about love, marriage, relationship, and funky grooves. In fact, the name of that song is Lord Make Me Funky.
That's it.
Okay, what do you got?
It's a woman writing. She says, I am currently mid-30s, single Christian. I usually get mistaken for being 10 years younger. I'm interested in...
That's good, though.
Yeah.
I used to have that problem
I used to, too. I don't anymore.
But yeah, not so much. Well, people still think I'm a lot younger than I am.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
But it was really bad. I was a youth pastor, pushing 30 years old. And I remember going to a youth event, and the guy who was leading everything came over and said, okay, you guys, let's we're getting ready to start. And he's talking to me, he says, so what grade are you in?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm the youth
So what
pastor.
grade am I in? I'm one of the youth pastors. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I used to hate it when I was younger, like when I was 16, I hated being passed off at Disneyland by my parents for 12 and under so they could get us in cheaper. I hated it, but then it got to be a bonus because when I was 30 and they're like, oh my gosh, you look like you're in your early 20s.
Well, thank you very much.
And all that. And
I remember getting carded, if you're going to a restaurant where they have alcohol. Now, they do it now to everybody now just because it's mandatory. But back then, it wasn't mandatory. They really thought I was underage. I was like 32.
Yeah. When they card me now, I say, I know that this is your job and you have to do it. It's the law, but I'm just going to pretend that you think I look underage, and that makes my day.
Well, it used to be.
Yeah.
They would only do it if they thought you were
Yeah.
underage, and I used to get a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of fun.
Okay, so anyway, her question, I'm interested in knowing your opinion on what age range should my dating pool be? Is dating a guy 10 or 15 years younger or older a viable option, or would it be too much of an age difference? What's too crazy and what's healthy?
If the guy's 78, and even then,
Unless he's really rich.
unless he's really wealthy and the guy has a bad heart, because then there's a good chance he won't make it through the honeymoon,
Yeah.
and then you're set for life.
I'm sure that she's appreciating that serious reply.
Look, there's no rule on that stuff. There's practical advice people would give you. Just because you want people to be able to get along, and if there's like huge cultural differences, someone from Nairobi, Kenya, marrying somebody from Boise, Idaho, generally people would say it's not a good idea, but they can do it, and people do it, and they're fine.
There's just things that go along with that. If you marry some guy that's much younger than you, there's things that go along with that scenario, as is if you marry someone who's 15 years older than you.
Yeah, all kinds of things. Do we want to get into them?
I don't know. Do you have any filters left today at all?
But no, I think it's fine, sweetheart. If you're a young, gorgeous babe, some younger guy's probably going to come and get your attention. And at some point, you'll have the conversation. Say, I'm 7 years older than you. And you know what? He's not going to care.
Right.
If you're a young, gorgeous babe.
Right.
A lot of guys, I know guys married women 15 years older than them. And, apparently everything's fine. She must be a highly motivated young to keep up with someone 15, especially a man 15 years younger than you. You got a lot of energy. But other than that's fine. Listen to your friends and family. Like we talked about at the beginning of the show. They'll see things that maybe you're not seeing. It's just practical advice. You want things so the truth is, any two people can make this work. It's really true. If they'll both be nice and compassionate and understanding to each other. Most people, sadly, despite everything they think, turn out not to be that way, and all the problems flood in, and it drives them crazy. Best to try and get as much on the same page as you can, because marriage is hard. That's what you don't understand. It's hard. It's like, can you run a marathon with a backpack of rocks on your back?
Sure.
Yeah, you can. You can do it.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, but I'm just saying that you can do it.
You can do it.
But it's really hard. And most people it'll take them a long time to finish the race. But they can finish it. They're not going to win, but they'll finish. You know what I'm saying? So if you ask someone if they're going to run a marathon, what they'll tell you is, don't wear a backpack full of anything. Don't have a backpack, and put on what's just legally required to keep you from getting arrested. Really?
I know.
They wear the thinnest material, the lightest. Even their tennis shoes have to be a certain type because they want to shed all the weight that they possibly can. Why? To help them run the race. That's the reason for all the advice. But can you step outside those bounds? Of course you can. So anyway, all right.
Well, for her, especially if she marries somebody older, one of the big considerations is, would a guy 15 years older than you want to have kids? Do you still want to have kids? I mean, that's a really big consideration.
All these questions come in, stuff that you should certainly be talking about, but if they work it out, let's face it, I mean, a man in his 80s can still father a child.
But does he want to?
Well, and he'll be dead by the time he starts having problems.
I mean.
So you won't care.
Again, eyes wide open. And
eyes wide open. But could you do it? Absolutely. Could a 21-year-old girl marry an 80-year-old guy?
Yeah, that's what that Anna Nicole Smith did. She married that really old guy.
Can you do it? You can.
Then he died. She got his money, and then his children fought her for it.
Yeah. It can get a little crazy, but there's no set rule on it. It's just people advising you the best way to run the race. I think you're going to be fine. You start pushing much past 15 years, like 20 years. Now you really got some issues, but anything in a 10-year ballpark, either way, I think it's fine. So.
Okay, another dating question. Okay. She says, I am not in a relationship, but I want to be. I'm in my late 50s.
Is she asking me on a date?
No.
Oh.
You stop.
Well, maybe she's dating Phil.
I am in.
She's writing us. I'd like to be. Are you free Friday night? I don't know. I'm just saying.
I'm in my late 50s and have been single now for 6 years, and I really would prefer to be married again. I'm fine single, but desire not to be in her late 50s.
Okay.
My marriage ended because it was the classic narcissist and codependent situation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like the saying goes, you don't know what you don't know, and I didn't know, but now I really do.
Now that you know that you didn't know when you should have known what you know now.
I have learned a lot in my recovery process.
Okay.
The divorce was not caused by adultery, but by abuse that I could not endure any longer.
Okay.
If I did remarry, would I be committing adultery?
Talk to your pastor. Talk to your pastor. We deal with these questions constantly. You have no. People say, "Well, the answer is A or B." You don't know the details. I'm telling you, in our church, every single case that comes before us has a million shades of gray. Not to encourage one to read 50 Shades of Grey, but I'm just saying it. You know, so your church has to make these calls. The church is supposed to be making calls on these issues. Paul was very clear in 1 Corinthians that the church should be intervening in the matters of conflicts between believers. And there's no greater conflict than something like what you're talking about here. They're supposed to make rulings. They're supposed to be making judgments. And what they did, and when Paul condemned them for, is the church abdicated their responsibility and just let them fight it out in court, which a lot of Christians, I'd say the vast majority of Christians still today do exactly what Paul told them not to do. Most churches will not get involved. Most churches won't touch these things with a 10-foot pole. You come to them with the problems, we're not going to meet about that. You guys wrestle it out, and then they just stay awake because they're abdicating their responsibility. You should be going to your faith family and presenting it before them. One of the great credits that I'll give to the Catholic Church, although many would argue it's abused at times, is that they get this. Man, they get it better than anybody. The church is supposed to be making calls. People come to them, they make rulings about what this is and that and the other. Most evangelical churches are, in this area, cowards. That's the worst version of it. A lot of it is that they're just, let's face it, a lot of pastors won't even preach the truth. Because there's a sermon they know they should preach, and then there's a sermon they do preach. Because they do preach it, even though they know they should preach it, because they're just afraid of upsetting it. They're so fearful. As a result, it seeps into the overall ministry where churches do not get involved in people's lives and help settle disputes of all kinds. So I am not your pastor. I do not know your situation. And sadly, I cannot answer your question. We'll take a break and be back with more right after this.
Attend Mark's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage event. Visit laughyourway.com for upcoming dates and locations.
I require no invitation for quiet walks and rendezvous. My only
Michael O'Brien. We always like to throw one clip of
Please
Michael O'Brien's
forgive
music.
me.
He's great. Check out his music at michaelo.org. What do you got?
Okay, this lovely lady has a second question.
Oh, this
About
was
dating. In her late 50s, she was wondering if she was committing adultery.
committing
if she
adultery.
remarried.
Yeah,
But she has a second question.
And I gave her a brilliant non-answer.
Right.
All right.
My other question is, as a Christian, after praying about this and not hearing, yes, go look for a spouse, or no, do not look for a spouse from God, what should I do? Should I take matters into my own hands and be on dating sites and asking my friends if they know anyone and listening for God's direction in the process, or should I just continue to wait until I do get a definite direction from God?
Oh, this one I'll answer to, and I'll try not to yell at you.
He'll try.
No, I will. He's been an angry elf.
He has been.
He's starting to calm down. All you people, please, for the love of heaven, listen. I don't know. Some of the most faulty, biblically inaccurate teachings in churches happen among single people because they make stuff up that is not in the Bible. No place in the Bible does it ever talk about marriage being a result of divine revelation. There's one hint at it in one spot, and we won't get into it with Abraham or whatever, but you can't set a doctrine based on one example in the Bible, or we'd be baptizing for dead people. There's all kinds of weird things in the Bible. You got one verse, it's kind of weird, but you don't build a doctrine. The Bible says in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. The Bible, especially in the New Testament, you get anywhere in the New Testament, and that's really our best clue about how. A lot of times people go to the Old Testament to try and figure out how to succeed. And the best you can do are get analogies from the Old Testament. You really want to know how to live the Christian experience, you look in the New Testament. That's the skinny part. All right, that's the newer part. The new. This is when Jesus comes and he makes clear the expression of God in the earth. All right, and the teachings of the apostles and the prophets. If you look at that, there's no place anywhere where there's even the hint that there is divine revelation involved when it comes to marriage. Paul was very clear. Jesus was clear. He told them, it's your choice. You know, for example, one time he said, look, if you marry a woman, you can't just divorce her for whatever reason. And the disciple said, well, then it's not worth getting married. Jesus said, well, tough snot, basically, Actually,
he didn't really use.
He gave a funnier. Actually, he gave a very funny example. But because we lose the humor because the way it's translated. When they said it's not worth getting married, you know what his answer was? Or look it up, people. He says, look, some people are born eunuchs. Some people are made eunuchs by others. Some become eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of God. And then they all shut up. He's literally, because you know what a eunuch is? Is a guy who has his balls cut off. As it is. That's his testicles are removed. So
yeah,
Jesus answered when they said, oh, it's not worth getting married. He said, hey, some guys are born without a pair. Some people have their pairs removed. Some people take their pairs off on purpose. Up to you, boys. And then they shut up. That's exactly what he said. What do you think a eunuch is?
I know what a eunuch is.
So people, oh, Jesus, and he did too. And they all shut up. I shut up too. I mean, it was a matter. Look, it's your choice. You want to do this? You don't want to do it? You think you can live without it? I don't.
Can you live with them?
You can live without them or with them. It's your choice. Paul became very clear. This is strictly a choice. He said, he compelled people. Don't get married. That's what he really said. Read it. 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter. His argument was don't do it. But he says if you choose to do it, that's your choice. It's a choice. My dear lady. See, already he's an angry elf. He hasn't gotten anywhere. I'm not angry. Not at you. I'm angry. Stupid people that promote this stuff so that people like you get confused. It's not about God telling you to get married. Marriage is a choice. It's a choice. It's like what you wear today is not a divine revelation. You choose what to put on. If you're lucky, it doesn't clash with different colors of green, like something I would do. But it's a choice. Sweetheart, you got to choose. And they say, well, if I want to get married, if I choose to get married, what do I got to do? Should I get on sites? Yes, that's what you do. Marriage is about finding or being found. He who finds a wife, a woman of noble character who can find. It's not about divine revelation. People say, I'm waiting for the Lord to bring me a husband, are crazy. They don't, well, they're not crazy, but they're biblically inaccurate. It's not the way it is. You want to find somebody, you make a choice if you want to get married, and then you put yourself in a situation where you can go find somebody. It's just that simple. All right, see ya.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.